I'm gonna get straight to the point because I don't want to waste your time. I recently found a new Terraria mod called Ultimate Skyblock, which makes you start on an island, and you have to find many more islands to progress. There are new islands for each biome, new ways to progress, and even new subworlds. So I spent 100 days in it, so let's begin. On day 0, I spawned in. For some reason, the day counter began on day 0, so whatever. I guess we're starting on day 0. Post-editing Skeletron here, I realized this was talking about how many days have passed and not what day you're on, so I need to go practice my reading comprehension, I guess. Anyways, back to the video. There was a Skyblock guidebook in my inventory, which gave me a ton of tips for how I can progress in Skyblock. I then used my custom-made starter bag. If you don't know, I always have a custom-made starter bag I just use to make my playthroughs a bit easier. And it mainly includes my vanity set, magic storage units, and more. Nothing too powerful. So anyways, I started on this cool looking island. I placed my magic storage units. I also saw there was an actual cobblestone generator on the island, similar to Minecraft Skyblock, and I was able to use that to get stone. Anyways, I used the stone I got to venture into the left side of the world, hoping to maybe find the other islands. I found another island, which had a chest in it that gave me some pretty cool items. Then I fell, yeah. I found more islands with basic chests in them, and I went back. I worked on making a tree farm using acorns, since I was gonna need to have some source of wood. I mined for some more stone, and I went to expand the bridge further till day 1, when I was able to find the jungle island. I found feral claws in one of the chests that were there. I also saw life crystals, and I mined them, but for some reason, the life crystals didn't drop anything when I mined them. I kept trying to mine the other ones, but for some reason, they also didn't drop them, so I restarted my game. The tree farm grew its first tree, let's go. Now, for some reason, trees grew extremely fast. This is because the Ultimate Skyblock mod actually makes trees grow way faster, which is a feature I absolutely love. So overall, day 1 just consisted of working on my tree farm and exploring a bit to the right side of the spawn point. On day 2, I kept bridging right. Eventually I found the snow biome. I got flurry boots from a chest, which was awesome. Also, I got the ice blade from a frozen crate. I kept bridging, and I found more snow biome islands. This one had a life crystal, and this time I was able to actually mine it, so the glitch was fixed after restarting. I went back to the left and started bridging there instead. I found more jungle islands which had more loot, and I also found the desert biome islands. I used rope to go up to the skies, cause I was curious on what was up in the skies in this mod. I found these planetoid looking things, which had stone, clay, and basic ores like copper and iron. I explored these islands until day 3. At one point, I found a jungle planetoid, which had a beehive inside. Cool. Anyways, I went back to exploring the left, finding more loot along the way. I found this new dark looking island. It had a chest with a mysterious lantern. Now, I didn't know what it did, but I'll use it later. These dark looking islands are called Deepstone Islands, and they're kinda just custom-made Skyblock islands from this mod. After exploring enough, I used the mysterious lantern. It teleported me to the mining subworld. This subworld had things like ores, life crystals, chests, and more. It was the best way of getting loot at this early stage of the game. I found a new biome at the bottom of this subworld called the Deepstone biome, and it looked dangerous, so I didn't explore it much. After getting enough loot, I left the subworld. Now, I had a magic conch from when I was at the desert islands, so I used it to see what would happen, and I found meteorites. Cool. I was teleported to the very left of the map, and I found the mushroom island. It had so many chests and life crystals. Anyways, I used silver I got from the mining subworld to make a full set of silver armor. Now that I finished exploring the left, I began exploring the right, and I found the Hallowed. Yeah, in this mod, you get the Hallowed biome early on. On day 4, I built a boss arena, since I was thinking I would start getting ready to fight bosses. Also, I saw that in this mod, the merchant sold silk, so I used that to make a bed. Also, I started setting up pylons. Then I just kept exploring right and finding more Hallowed Islands. The Hallowed Islands had shimmer in them, which was not only really cool, but also really useful, since the shimmer was going to be really good. Also, I finally made it to max life. On day 5, I kept exploring to the right. I actually found the Crimson. Also, I went back to a new deepstone biome in the mining subworld. There was this structure in the middle which had a ton of chests and loot. Other than that, there wasn't really too much for this day, and things started to speed up for a bit. On day 6, I got the jungle pylon ready. I also went back to the skies to mine clay from plantoids, since I wanted to use clay pots for making my herb farm, which I needed for potions. On day 7, I worked on the potion farm, but then I scrapped the whole thing cause I didn't have enough clay pots. I figured I'd just wait for the dryad after the Eye of Cthulhu and use planter boxes instead. Then I started to build my first house. I wanted to actually build good looking houses for this playthrough. I usually never build in my playthroughs, but this is a 100 days video and it's an exception. Eventually, I got the bases of it done, but I knew I'd improve it later hopefully. Then I went back to the skies to find crimson plantoids. They contain crimson hearts in them, which I bombed so hopefully the goblin army could spawn later. From day 8 to day 10, I slept because I was waiting for the Eye of Cthulhu to spawn. Now, I have no idea why I slept. I could have done anything else to progress while I waited, but now I just wasted like 3 days. Great. Also, the eye didn't even spawn because my luck is just garbage like that. On day 11, I worked on making a fishing pool. I was able to use the water duplication glitch to make the fishing pool. It took me an insanely long time just to get this fishing pool ready. I also wanted to do angler quests with the angler moved in. In Ultimate Skyblock, the angler actually moves in instead of you having to find him. Also, I farmed enemies in nighttime, because I wanted lenses so I could spawn the Eye of Cthulhu in, also known as LeBron James because I'm using a texture pack that turns the Eye of Cthulhu into LeBron. You will see. After gathering enough lenses, I went to a crimson biome and I crafted the suspicious looking LeBron at a demon altar. Then I accidentally used it. Awesome, amazing. I had to recall because I legitimately wasn't prepared. But on day 12, I actually felt an evil presence watching me. Eventually the Eye of Cthulhu spawned. Actually no. LeBron James spawned. Now, with my silver bow, LeBron James was actually a pretty easy boss. Even in the second phase, the amount of mobility I had with my flurry boots and cloud in a bottle was able to counter this boss completely. So LeBron James was defeated. Sorry, but you aren't my sunshine anymore. I got the Shield of Cthulhu, or actually no, the Shield of LeBron, which was going to be extremely useful with the dash it provided. On day 13, I spent some time working on a fishing pool in the jungle. After I finished it, I started fishing for the first time in this playthrough. Fishing and angler quests were going to be extremely useful in this playthrough. With the limited resources provided in Skyblock, I was going to need to start fishing at some point. I also spent a ton of time fishing in the jungle to potentially get jungle crates for a boomstick. However, I couldn't even find a singular jungle crate, so I kinda just wasted my time. On day 14, I spent my time on creating a herb farm, this time with planter boxes, since they were way easier to use than pots. Eventually, I set up all the seeds. This was going to be extremely useful, since I needed herbs for a lot of useful potions, and buffs were something I needed. I also mined some of the desert islands for sand, since I wanted to make glass using sand. Using glass, I kind of decorated my potion farm. I was gonna make the glass look better later, but for now this is okay, I guess. On day 15, I really didn't know what to do. After just standing still for a bit trying to think of what to do, I thought it would be a good idea to fight the King Slime. So I went to a mining subworld to get rubies. It took me way longer to find rubies than I would like to say, but eventually I found rubies. So on day 16, I crafted the slime crown at a crimson altar, and I made sure to make a bridge of dirt at the bottom of my arena, since if there weren't blocks beneath the King Slime, it could fall and despawn. So I summoned the King Slime. With grenades, the King Slime was really easy. I was doing some amazing damage, and I didn't find the boss a problem at all with my speed. So yeah, that's the King Slime down. Then after that, the leftover slime minions dealt more damage to me than the boss itself. Fun. Day 17 began with a bit of fishing. You know, some fishing is chill. Also, I worked on making a house in the desert. I'll make an actually good looking house later. For now, I just want pylons. Also, I mined a ton of sand since I wanted more glass. Then I tried using glass to finish up the potion farm decoration, but other than that, this day was kind of bland. On day 18, a goblin army spawned. God damn, it's about time. Now, this goblin army took me quite a while. I only had grenades, so it was kind of hard to deal with some of the goblins, especially the archers, but eventually I managed to get it done. Also, I made a tree farm in my jungle just because I was going to maybe use rich mahogany for a jungle house. Also, I used rope to go to the underground. Why? Because I wanted to build an underground house or farm or fishing pool. I kinda don't have an idea. On day 19, I began my jungle house. I had the idea of a tree house for this build. Why? Because I'm not original and I suck at building. The mahogany wood tree farm really came in clutch here. Also, a slime rain happened. Bruh, I already beat the king slime. Even with how painful the slime rain was, I continued the rest of the day working on the house. On day 20, I decided I was going to fight the Brain of Cthulhu. Now, how was I going to fight the Brain of Cthulhu? I asked myself. I remember the crimson hearts inside the crimson planetoids in the sky, so I guess we're fighting the Brain of Cthulhu in space. I started on the arena and oh my god, there were so many harpies. Like, I hate harpies. So I summoned the boss. Now, you would expect me to do good against the Brain of Cthulhu, since it's, well, more like 30th time beating it in a playthrough. But that's not what happened, and I died. Why? The harpies and the gravity of space. Trust me, I don't suck. Trust me, please. So instead, I thought it'd be a good idea to craft the bloody spine instead, so I could fight it on the surface. But farming vertebrae took ages. So on day 21, I just went back to Crimson Plantoids, and this time, I made another platform just so I'd have 2 layers of platforms to help me instead of 1. Luckily, there were more Crimson Hearts, so I blew them up. So the Brain of Cthulhu got summoned again. This time, it was quite easy, and my tendon bow with jester arrows carried me. Even in the second phase, grenades absolutely destroyed this boss. So yeah, I guess that's the Brain defeated. After more fishing for the day, I went to add more seeds to my herb farm, which was starting to finally give more seeds and be useful. On day 22, I went to Underworld for the first time in this playthrough. The Underworld had many islands which contained shadow chests, and also more of these plantoid looking things that contained hellstone, so I mined hellstone. Also, I spent a long time using the liquid duplication glitch, this time with lava to get obsidian. Eventually I gathered enough hellstone and obsidian to make hellstone bars, which I used to make the Molten Fury bow. Then I went back to the rope that I made in the underground. I made another fishing pool there, because the underground fish were going to be really useful. For example, armored cavefish, which I needed for endurance potions. It took quite a while, and I did this till day 23. After it was finished, I started actually fishing there. Then I spent some time making a fishing pool in the snow biome. At this point, I was trying to make fishing pools everywhere just so I could fish for anything I wanted. On day 24, I was just thinking about what I should do now. I didn't know. I went to go fish more in the underground, then I started working on my snow biome build. For this house, I had the idea of building a snow globe, maybe with an actual house inside the snow globe. That would go pretty hard, I'm not gonna lie. After a while, a blood moon occurred. I tried to make a tree farm in the snow biome just so I would get boreal wood for the snow globe, but it was so hard to do that just because of the amount of enemies spawning in the blood moon. It was so annoying. So I spent the rest of the day farming blood moon enemies, I guess. There was some good loot I could get after all, like the shark tooth necklace or the money trough. On day 25, I decided I was going to fight the Queen Bee. But how was I going to do that, you may ask? Well, under the Jungle Islands, there was this gigantic arena that was meant for fighting both the Queen Bee and Plantera. There was even an altar to summon Plantera in the middle of the arena. I went to the jungle plantoids in the sky which contained beehives, so I could mine hive blocks and get honey blocks to craft the Abeemination. So eventually, I summoned the Queen Bee. The Queen Bee was not an issue at all. My Molten Fury kind of just shredded her. So yeah, easy money. Now, the best part about this is the fact that I managed to get the bee's knees, which is amazing. It replaced my molten fury. After some more fishing, I got my snowbiome boreal tree farm finished, and I continued to work on the snow globe house I was making. On day 26, I finally finished the basics of my snowbiome house, but I knew I would try to make it better later. For now, it looks okay though. I then fished for the rest of the day. On day 27, I made an underground box house, but I'll try to make a better underground house later. Maybe, I don't know, it was just for pylons. I also set up a box house at the mushroom island, and I spent a lot of time setting up a fishing pool in the mushroom biome. More water duplication, yay, so fun. On day 28, I thought about trying to fight the next boss, Skeletron. Oh my god, I'm gonna fight myself, let's go. The thing is, I didn't know how I would summon Skeletron. Maybe there was a dungeon island or something. Now, I still had not fully explored the right of the world, so I bridged there in hopes of maybe finding a dungeon island of some sorts. Now, me being the smartest human being on this planet, of course I was right, there was a dungeon island. Side note, this build is amazing. I love how all of the islands and their builds look, it's amazing. Anyways, I decided to set up an arena there. I didn't want too big of an arena, since it's just Skeletron. I'm sure I'm fine. So once it was night, I grabbed my buffs and summoned Skeletron. Yeah, I was right, this boss was really easy. So yeah, Skeletron is defeated. On day 29, I went inside the dungeon. Now, in Ultimate Skyblock, the dungeon is actually a subworld containing chests and other normal dungeon loot. I just spent a lot of time there, gathering dungeon loot, and eventually I found a shadow key. The only thing I needed was a shadow key, so I left the instant I got it. Also, I made a set of necro armor. By now, it was very clear I was going ranger for this playthrough. Anyways, I went back to Underworld to search for shadow chests. I kid you not, it took me the entirety of day 30 just to find what I was looking for, the Hellwing bow. Oh my god. Days 31 to 39 were spent just doing some much needed preparations before I entered hard mode. I'll give a brief description of what I did. I completed the pylon system with the held pylon being added. Then I spent a lot of time in the dungeon gathering books and other furniture. Why? Cause I wanted to use them for my builds. I spent a bit of time making my builds look better. Then I started working on my desert house, using pearlwood for the build. It looks good, I guess. I even added a spiral staircase cause I'm just built like that and I am the best builder in Terraria. Nobody can compete with me, trust me. Now, when it comes to my underground build, I really did not know what to do. I didn't have any ideas. So instead of making an actually good looking build, I just made LeBron James. For fun, I had no ideas, sorry. But just look at this build in all of its amazing glory. Then I worked on a tree farm in the Hallowed, since I was gonna need more pearlwood for other builds. Then I started working on my Hallowed biome build. This one took me quite a bit to finish. Oh yeah, just cause why not? I made a bridge of stone bricks. Then I summoned the Old One's army on it. I didn't get anything good from the Old One's army, I just thought I'd do it for fun, and since I didn't have anything else to do. So yeah, it was easy. Also, I spent a lot of time making fishing pools in both the Howled biome and the Crimson biome. I wanted Prismite from the Howled biome for life force potions in hard mode, and I wanted Hemopiranhas from the Crimson to make rage potions. So now that all my preparations were done, on day 40, I made a bridge in the underworld so I could fight the Wall of Flesh. It took me an insanely long time to get the bridge done. So I summoned the Wall of Fishron. Not the Wall of Flesh, the Wall of Fishron. Because of a texture pack I'm using. It's linked in the description. Fortunately, the Wall of Fishron was no issue to me at all. Now we're in hard mode. Let's see how this is gonna go. On day 41, I did a ton of fishing, mainly for hard mode ores. Because there really wasn't a way to get hard mode ores in this playthrough, at least I don't think so. On day 42, I made myself a palladium armor set. I thought that palladium armor was fine for now since I couldn't be bothered to fish for a better armor set. Also, I expanded my held biome so I could start farming pixies for pixie dust, which I was gonna need for fairy wings and holy arrows. Also, I tried to go into the jungle arena to farm enemies, since maybe I could have a chance at getting the Uzi, but the chance was way too low and enemies were way too powerful, so the Uzi was off the table. Day 43 began with a lot of nothing, since I genuinely did not know what to do. I was mainly thinking of what weapon I should get. My options were very limited in the SKYBLOCK mod. I tried fishing for more hard mode crates for more hard mode ore to potentially make a repeater, but the best one I could make after all that fishing was an orichalcum repeater. I want something better, but for now I guess it's fine. So I went back to a howl to farm for pixie dust to make fairy wings and holy arrows. I also got a blessed apple from a unicorn. Neat. I ended up farming till day 44. So I went up to the skies to farm wyverns for souls of flight. And using that, I made fairy wings, harpy wings. Cause I saw a giant feather in my storage and I don't know when I got it, but hey, I'm not complaining. So then I went back to the jungle arena to farm skeleton archers for the magic quiver. After a bit of farming, I managed to get it, so I just left. I also saw that a lot of my items were not reforged for some reason, so I spent a lot of time reforging. On day 45, I mined pearlstone from a lot of the howled islands. I used the pearlstone in the underground to make an artificial underground howled biome. I was planning to farm souls of light, which I was going to use to craft keys of light, so I could farm howled mimics to get the dayless stormbow. God, I'm so smart. So I spent a lot of time on day 46 doing nothing but farming souls of light. That's it, yeah. But after a lot of mimic farming, I finally got the dayless stormbow. Nice. On day 47, I spent a lot of time farming enemies in the howled since I needed materials to resupply my holy arrows. Also, I spent a lot of time making my arena bigger. I was gonna need a big arena for the hard mode bosses. So on day 48, after crafting the mechanical worm, I finally summoned the destroyer. I didn't have any issues with the destroyer. The dayless stormbow did really well against it, and although the lasers were a bit annoying, they weren't that bad. On day 49, I wanted to craft the Mega Shark, so I fished. Now, why are you fishing if you want to craft the Mega Shark? Well, you see, the Mega Shark needs shark fins, and I legit have no idea how I would get shark fins in this playthrough with no ocean. So I thought it would be good if I fished for crates, getting hunter potions from them, then I could shimmer them to decraft them into shark fins, since hunter potions need shark fins to be crafted. You see my absolute genius here, but for the love of God, I couldn't even get a singular hunter potion from fishing, so never mind, I scrapped that and I just wasted like an entire day. On day 50, I wanted to have access to ichor, so I mined a ton of crimstone from the crimstone planetoids. Using crimstone, I made an artificial underground crimson biome where I could farm enemies for ichor. I wanted to make a switch from holy arrows to ichor arrows, since ichor arrows were easier to craft and I feel like they are better for any boss that isn't the destroyer. On day 51, I fought the twins, and I died. Yeah, amazing, awesome. So I decided I'd fight the twins later and instead I fought Skeletron Prime. Then I spent the rest of the night in the Howled farming for... I don't remember. I'm looking back at this footage, and now that I look at it, I don't have an idea. I was probably farming for the Rod of Discord or something, I don't know. On day 52, I decided that I died to the twins because my arena was too small for the fight, so I made the arena bigger. Then I fought the twins again, and yeah, it was fine. On day 53, I went back to my jungle arena and mined out chlorophyte that spawned from it. We have a very limited amount of chlorophyte for this playthrough, since the only place that chlorophyte was able to spawn in was my jungle arena. After mining enough chlorophyte, I made the chlorophyte chapo. Also, I made myself a full set of howled armor. I did not have enough chlorophyte for chlorophyte armor, but this is still fine. So then I made an arena in the howled biome. Why? Cause no time to talk, we're fighting the queen slime baby. Queen slime's projectile spam was very annoying to deal with, but it didn't deal too much damage to me, so it was okay. On day 54, I actually went to the Plantera summoning altar in my jungle arena and summoned Plantera. Nothing much to talk about, Plantera was easy. You know, I finished the fight at full health. Sometimes I wonder why I'm so good at this game. Then I spent a lot of time farming for Chaos Elementals, cause I wanted another chance at getting the Rod of Discord, but I didn't get it. I just wanted that Rod of Discord so badly. In fact, I actually spent the entirety of days 55 and 56 trying to get the Rod of Discord, but I didn't get it. Like, huh? I hate getting this item so much. On day 57, I found a temple, which was next to a jungle arena. Now, the temple is actually built differently with way less rooms, just to get that skyblock feel, you know? So I summoned Golem without that much preparation, and there were so many enemies spawning. Like, what? So then I spent the rest of the day just trying to fight Golem and failing. It was genuinely not my fault there were so many enemies for no reason at all. On day 58, I mined chlorophyte since I decided I was going to upgrade my armor to a set of Shumai armor. Now the issue was, the truffle was going to move in pretty easily with the mushroom island already existing, but how was I going to get glowing mushrooms? So at first, I spent some time making a bigger artificial glowing mushroom biome that'll be able to grow glowing mushrooms quickly. On day 59, while I was at it, I actually made an artificial corruption biome. I wanted to fish in a corruption biome to get Ibonkoi, how do I pronounce this? Since it would be useful for wrath potions. Anyways, back to the Shumai armor I was trying to get. The truffle did move in, and I still didn't know how I would get glowing mushrooms fast, even with the artificial one I made, because it was growing way too slow. But then, my beast of a brain had a genius idea. I used a contaminator to spread glowing mushroom solution into some of the jungle plantoids that I didn't need. With that strategy, I was able to get glowing mushrooms very quickly. On day 60, after what felt like ages, I finally had a set of Shumai armor. So I went back to a Golem fight, thinking this would be a cakewalk with my new amazing armor set, and oh my god, for the rest of the day, I worked on expanding my artificial corruption biome. On day 61, I did some more water duplicating and this time my new corruption biome. So I spent a lot of time fishing for Ibankai. Maybe wrath potions were gonna help me against Golem. Now, most of the time, I was getting killed in the Golem fight because of the other enemies spawning. So I had an idea. I made a few boxes right next to the temple and moved a few NPCs there. You know how spawn rates are heavily reduced with town NPCs near? Yeah, this could reduce the spawn rates inside the temple so no other enemies will spawn while I'm trying to fight this boss. So on day 62, I tried fighting Golem again. This went from an insanely hard boss fight to a cakewalk of a fight just because there were no more spawn rates. So that's Golem down, and we're getting close to beating the game. Then I decided to spend a lot of time in the Post-plantera dungeon, just to get ectoplasm, since ectoplasm is going to be useful for many things I can craft. I crafted the naughty present and tried to fight the frost moon. This went extremely bad. My chlorophyte shabo wasn't good anymore, and I was dealing no damage to the enemies. It was obvious I needed a better weapon. So on day 63, I spent a lot of time building an underground glowing mushroom biome. My plan was, I wanted to get truffle worms so I could fight Duke Fishron to get the tsunami. But then I realized something. How the hell was I even gonna summon Duke Fishron if there was no ocean? Well, you might say that can just make another fishing pool. This time at the end of the world where the ocean lies. Well, you're technically right, but it's not that simple. Now you see, a fishing pool needs to have over 75 tiles of connected liquid for you to be able to fish in it. But that number is changed to over 1000 in the ocean biome. So yeah, I'll have to make my own ocean biome by water duplicating, and it's going to take me a very long time. So from days 64 to 68, I just spent the entire time water duplicating. Also at one point the Martians spawned, so I had to deal with that. On day 69, I went back to my underground glowing mushroom biome to catch truffle worms. Eventually I caught one and left. So moment of truth, it's time to see if this strategy works and Fishron will get summoned. And it worked, let's go. Now I always find Fishron a very easy fight, so I really didn't have any issues with this. Eventually, Duke Fishron was defeated and I had myself a set of Fishron wings first try. But I didn't get the tsunami, so I farmed the boss more a few times till I got the tsunami. This was amazing, way better than my chlorophyte shotbow. On day 70, I tried the frost moon again with my new weapon, and yeah, it was 10 times easier and I managed to defeat the Ice Queen multiple times. On day 71, I summoned the Pumpkin Moon. That was also easy and I managed to kill the Pumpkin multiple times. From days 72 to 74, I spent a lot of time in the dungeon. I was just trying to farm bone leaves in the dungeon to get the tabby and the black belt, which took me way longer than I would have liked. My luck was horrible trying to get these accessories for some reason, but I needed them to craft the Master Ninja gear. On day 75, I spent some time making my arena bigger. I was gonna need a bigger arena for the Moonlord and Empress of Light. Then I went back to the underground hallowed biome to farm Chaos Elementals again, just for maybe one more chance at getting the Rod of Discord. But unfortunately, I still couldn't get it. On day 76, I went to my surface hallowed biome to try and get prismatic lacewings. However, I spent the whole night looking for them and for some reason I did not get a singular one. I have no idea why. So on day 77, I expanded my howled biome. Maybe it wasn't big enough for prismatic lacewings to spawn, I don't know. Usually prismatic lacewings aren't supposed to be this rare. Whatever I did was the correct move, cause a lot of prismatic lacewings started spawning. So apparently my howled biome was just not big enough at first. So on day 78, I summoned the Empress of Light. My tsunami was doing amazing damage against this boss, and although at one point I did get quite low, I still managed to snag the win. On day 79, I decided it was finally time to beat the game, so I went to the dungeon and summoned the lunatic cultist. I don't have anything much to say about the cultist fight, it was extremely easy. So I went for the pillars, and the first one up was the vortex pillar, and I didn't have any trouble with it. I crafted the vortex beater, so I went for both the Stardust pillar and the Nebula pillar. On day 8, I went for the solar pillar. I destroyed it, and impending doom approaches. Eventually, the Moonlord spawned. From days 81 to 100, I kind of just did some building. I tried making a lot of my existing houses look better than making new houses, especially my main house. This is actually by far my favorite house in this playthrough. I just like the aesthetic of it. Maybe I am somewhat of a builder, I guess. I don't think many of you guys are too interested in building, so I won't say much else. So that is it for this playthrough. It's been a very long time since I've done a 100 days video. Actually, it's been like a year, so it's kind of nostalgic making one again. If you've enjoyed this video, please like, comment, and subscribe, cause I'm very close to 100k subs. Again, the mod link is in the description. Anyways, thanks for watching, and see ya.